Selling your home, it should be this huge win, right? Especially in a market like Kitchener-Waterloo. But, and this is a big but, it's a journey that's just filled with these potential traps that can cost you some serious money. So today, we're going to break down the most common mistakes we see local sellers make and, more importantly, give you a super clear action plan to avoid them. Okay, let's just dive right in. And that's really the reality of it, isn't it? The difference between a smooth, really profitable sale and, well, a stressful, super costly ordeal, it often just comes down to avoiding a few key errors right at the very beginning. And we're going to make sure you land on the biggest payday side of that equation, for sure. So, you might be asking, how do you guys know what we're worried about? Well, we looked at the data. All the advice in this explainer, it's built directly from the exact questions and concerns that homeowners in Kitchener-Waterloo are literally typing into their search engines. We're not just guessing here, we're answering the questions you're already asking. All right, first up, let's talk about the single biggest landmine in this entire process, the price. I mean, if you get this wrong, everything that follows just becomes 10 times harder. It's that critical. And the margin for error here, it's shockingly small. We're not talking about being way off. We're talking about just a few percentage points. In these really high-demand neighborhoods, like Huron Park or Dune, pricing just 3 to 5% too high, it doesn't just mean you'll get lower offers. A lot of the time, it means you'll get no offers at all. See, buyers today are so incredibly informed, they will just scroll right past a listing they feel is even a little bit overpriced. And this is exactly what happens when you overprice. Your home becomes what we call a stale listing. And the longer it just sits there, the more buyers start to wonder, what's wrong with that place? And that's exactly when the lowball offers start to roll in. And poof, you've lost all your negotiating power. Okay, so this chart just illustrates the two paths perfectly. That old myth of, let's just start high and see what happens. Yeah, that leads to a pretty painful downward spiral. But pricing it right, based on real, current market data from day one, now that's how you get a flood of serious buyers. That's how you create that sense of urgency, and you put yourself in a position to negotiate from a place of strength, maybe even sparking a multiple offer situation. Huge difference. Okay, let's move on. Assuming you've got your price dialed in perfectly. The next big mistake sellers make is all about preparation, or, the lack of it. It's all about what buyers see, what they feel, and what they notice the very second they see your property, whether it's online or in person. Now, don't get overwhelmed by this. It's actually pretty simple. Just think of it like a hierarchy, a priority list. Start with the absolute deal breakers, anything to do with safety or major function, right? These are the red flags that are going to come up on an inspection report and just send buyers running for the hills. Then you focus on that all-important first impression, the curb appeal. And finally, you create a blank canvas. Declutter, depersonalize, so buyers can actually picture themselves and their own stuff living there. These are the little things, the unforced errors that we see all the time. Small stuff, like peeling paint or a cluttered room, it can make a buyer feel like the home just hasn't been well maintained. And poor photos, oh man, in today's market, that is a complete non-starter. Buyers are making a decision in seconds online, and your photos, they're your one and only shot. Okay, so you've priced it right, you've prepped it perfectly. Now comes what might just be the most important decision you'll make in this whole process: who you choose to partner with to guide you through it all. And this is so crucial. Your agent isn't just someone who sticks a sign on your lawn. No way. They are your chief strategist, your marketing director, and your lead negotiator, all rolled into one. The financial impact of this one single choice, it can be absolutely massive. So when you're interviewing agents, think of this as your non-negotiable checklist. And don't be shy about it. Ask them to show you their marketing plan. Ask them specifically how they handle the crazy dynamics of the KW market, like bully offers. Do they actually know your neighborhood inside and out, right down to how something like the Ion LRT has changed property values? This stuff is absolutely critical. All right, let's talk money, the bottom line. And I don't mean that big, exciting sale price number. I mean the number that actually hits your bank account. So many sellers get a really nasty surprise at closing because they overlooked the costs. See that big final sale price? It gets chipped away by several key costs. The biggest chunks usually are the real estate commissions and the HST on those services. Then you've got your lawyer's fees and maybe even some penalties for breaking your mortgage early. It's just so important to understand all these deductions from the very, very beginning. It's a pretty simple equation, right? But it is without a doubt the most important one in your entire sale. We call this your net sheet. And knowing this number right up front, that's what allows you to plan your next move with total confidence and avoids any of those horrible financial shocks on closing day. Okay, so we've talked about the biggest traps: pricing, preparation, the people you work with, and your final profit. Now let's flip this whole thing around and build a proactive action plan to make sure you get it right. Okay, step one, get a professional, data-driven evaluation. And here's the key: listen up. Don't just accept a single number. You need to insist on seeing the full report. You want to see the comparable sales, how they made adjustments for your specific home. This is your absolute best defense against that overpricing trap we talked about earlier. Step two is to make that repair list. But you gotta be strategic about it. Start with the things that an inspector will absolutely 100% flag. Fixing these items right up front builds a ton of confidence in buyers and can literally prevent a deal from falling apart down the road. Step three, think like a buyer. Specifically, who is buying in Kitchener-Waterloo right now? What do they really care about? Well, the data shows they're looking for dedicated home office space, they want usable basements for family life, and they want easy access to transit like the Ion. So, you need to highlight these features in your staging and your marketing. And finally, step four. Before that for sale sign even thinks about going on your lawn, you need to sit down with your agent or your lawyer and map out your estimated net proceeds. Get that number on paper. This financial clarity, it is the foundation for a stress-free sale and a really smart next purchase. You know, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. From the very first photo a buyer sees online to the exact moment they walk through your front door, you really only get one shot to get it right. But by avoiding these super common mistakes and just following a clear plan, you can be absolutely confident that you are ready to make it count.